Hi, friends. Welcome to Lessons from Living. I'm so glad you're with me today. The power and purpose of Lessons from Living is to motivate you and inspire you to live a life of significance. We're going to talk about taking baby steps in faith today. You know, as a perfectionist, I could be the poster child for someone who is perpetually disappointed with my personal progress or results. Sometimes it can be enough to prevent me from even trying something because the chances of my being disappointed with my end product are very high. A person like me can assume that God's standards must be even higher than my own. You know, saying this out loud makes me see how self-defeating it is. Why even get out of bed in the morning if you know that the work that you put into something will not be enough to produce a result acceptable to yourself, much less your Father? But our community group has recently been doing a study on the flora found in Scripture. We've been using the material from Walking the Text with Brad Gray. I highly recommend his teaching series. You can check it out at walkingthetext.com. One of the things we studied recently that brought this subject to mind was a session about the fig tree. Unlike most fruit-bearing trees, the fig tree is known for producing early fruit even before leaves are present. That's so unusual, isn't it? Brad talks about how this early fruit is called page. It's spelled Phage. And while it is fruit, it's not like the expected good fruit that a fig tree typically produces, fruit that is sweet and rich. In fact, this early fruit is very small and low in quality. Brad said it's not even worth saving and drying, but is only adequate to pick off the tree in the moment and eat it. What is notable about this early fruit is that it is evidence of more to come, the goodness in store. Brad compares this early fruit to the small, seemingly insignificant ways that we attempt to be faithful. Maybe our efforts don't look so good or are clumsily performed. But what is important is that we are making the effort. And like this pre-season fruit of the fig tree, these clumsy initial efforts are evidence of fruit to come. Brad says that while we may scoff at these clumsy efforts, Jesus sees our seemingly insignificant acts of faithfulness and says, I can work with that. So he encourages us to grow fruit like a fig tree and start small and be on the lookout for ways that we can perform even these tiny acts of faithfulness, because even the small acts of faithfulness are honoring of God and teaching us that we have the capacity for something even greater. As often happens, a subject comes across my radar and then it shows up in other venues. And interestingly, this topic emerged again when I interviewed Catherine Inman for our last Lessons from Living episode. If you haven't listened to it, I encourage you to go back and listen to Catherine's story. It is exceptionally powerful. She tells the story about enduring this long period of suffering during her son's journey with addiction. And part of the story is about when she was trying to surrender to Jesus. She said she wasn't reading scripture, but she would carry a Bible with her everywhere. She'd have it on the bedside table and take it with her in the car. And over the next days and weeks and months, very slowly, she began to experience a sense of peace. She had not known peace for a long time because of the stress of watching her son destroy himself. Catherine had a constant hard knot in her chest for this reason. But now when she tried to pray, she felt like she could breathe for the first time in a long time. She said that for someone who is considering opening their heart to Jesus, or maybe as a brand new Christian, or maybe it's a longtime Christian that finds themselves in a season of stagnation, just take baby steps. Just say Jesus. Just say Jesus Christ. Just speak the name. Put a Bible next to you like she did. Just these incremental, tiny little things, because Catherine said, God will use it and the Lord doesn't fail. She said there's just no good reason not to try. I heard recently that there's a significant revival of numbers going on in the American church, led by young men. And word is that these young men are wanting the challenge of a church that offers exacting standards. This is probably a pendulum swing from the rampant consumerism Christianity that's been popular for a long time, where congregants expect to be served instead of serving and are attracted by entertainment type services. I'm really glad to see young people wanting to be challenged. So please don't misinterpret my comments up until this point as representing that standards are unwanted or unnecessary. I am all about standards. You can ask my kids. We always expected them to strive for excellence in all they did. But starting anything with the expectation of excellence and even perfection is unrealistic and can serve to immobilize someone who wants to try but feels unskilled or inept. And especially if you're someone who is new to a faith relationship, that's likely how you're going to feel. I'm talking to myself here too, just to be clear. So just try. Just put your modest effort out there. Like we were talking about the early fruits of the fig tree. These seemingly insignificant efforts towards faithfulness will probably feel like not enough. You might even consider them to be lame attempts. But God honors effort. I think He intimately knows this humanity He has created with all of its imperfections. We don't have to wait until our offerings are fully formed because that is not His expectation. I think He just wants to see us trying. I think He knows how hard it is for us to step out in faith without any assurance of what is on the other side. It's terrifying in a lot of ways. So just like if your child came to you with a ridiculous mud pie that they'd been painstakingly working on for the last hour and announced that they had made a birthday dessert for you, would you throw it on the ground? Would you laugh in their face and belittle their attempt to please you? I doubt it. Instead, you would be touched by their effort. You would tell them that one day, if they continued to work hard, they might be a great baker. Despite whatever you might think of your efforts, God is not nearly so critical. He is thrilled with your initial mediocre attempts. He is thrilled with your effort. I'm so anxious to know your thoughts on this subject. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast for free on your favorite podcast platform so that you'll be the first to know when a new episode drops. And as always, thanks for listening. And today we'll be encouraged by the words of David Young. God uses imperfect people in imperfect situations to do His perfect will. Go out and make it a great day.